Well, we have a best-of-7 series about to begin, and we can't start without finding out what battleground these teams have chosen for the series. Tomb of the Spider Queen, picked here by XD.
XD picking Tomb. This would be a map that I would imagine them picking beforehand, so maybe not too much changing with their new players, their new roles. Lots of wave clear emphasis, obviously, on this map. We've seen more Johanna showing up, so maybe we're going to see a little bit of a battle between the Johanna and the Garrosh pickups. So yeah, the draft is going to be interesting on this one. And I actually think the draft is going to be the biggest point of this entire series.
It is definitely crucial here. And I think there's definitely a bit of an advantage for XD when you consider how hard it will be for them to scout. The only actual public footage that exists of XD playing with this 5-stack, considering Jin was rotated out. And Jin was, I mean, we have to say, Jin is a very good player. Jin was critical to their success, leading the charge on that warrior role, bringing in Tiger for playoffs. And putting Hami over on the tank, something was different, right? Something wasn't meshing throughout the cup. They actually did get better. But they obviously decided that is not ideal for them as a team. And now with Tiger JK, who in his history in Heroes of the Storm has played just about every role at this point, is going to be on the tank role. He's an aggressive player.
Yeah.
And maybe it fits him perfectly.
I think that's actually exactly it. He's such an aggressive player. So if his team is able to follow and he's able to dictate the flow of the game, then we're going to see a different style of XD that we've never seen before. We got 12 seconds left here. A little bit of a 3-2-3 issue, but they're spending their time. They're spending their time trying to pick what they're going to ban, set up the draft properly for their team.
So just kind of like looking at what we saw from Europe today. We're all playing on the patch, and it's good to mention that Deckard Cain is not allowed.
Yes.
But we do have Phoenix in play. So when it comes to the meta, do you expect it to be a lot different than what we see over on the side of Europe?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Like so much Samuro, I don't think we're going to see something similar like that. But I do think that both of these teams will have something that's like, okay, I see. This is the game that you guys were planning for, sort of thing. They'll have that trump card. They'll have that just air of volatility in their draft, and I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be exciting.
That's one of the best parts about doing a best-of-7 series, because in a best-of-7, the map pool that you have to be able to bust out a crazy strat on is a lot greater. And just looking at the map selection here, we saw that Sky Temple was banned out here. To me, that's telling. Maybe that one of the teams is afraid of a potential strategy they heard through the grapevine on Sky Temple, so they took it away. Heroes like Abathur rise in priority on maps like that, so maybe that's something that they just want to avoid.
It's very true. We've seen Method run some pretty wild drafts on that map in particular over in EU, running that Abathur and Samuro. So exactly, it could very well be something a little bit different like that. But here we go. Game number 1. We got Tomb of the Spider Queen, XD with the luxuries of first pick and first ban. Oh.
So starting on Tomb.
I lied.
Yeah, with LFM having first pick, that's why the remake happened.
There we go.
Medivh is banned out right out the gates.
And I think that's super safe. Medivh just absolutely commands the rotation on this map. And he's so difficult to get your first turn in against. Maev with the response, and I actually think Maev being banned out is going to be something that we'll see quite consistently throughout the Crucible. So we've got LFM with their first pick, and they just go with the Malfurion. So picking up one of those S-tier supports, perhaps giving over the Stukov to XD at this point. But Garrosh is up.
Garrosh,
like, lots of big picks available. Hanzo is up. So Phoenix, there we go. So
Phoenix, Hanzo. Wow, going for double assassin, just trying to get the ranged assassin priority early. That gives them a ton of clear, which is obviously huge here for Tomb of the Spider Queen. But they're giving up, their ideal support and their ideal tank, but at least only one of those can be banned out.
That is true. Hanzo is an excellent response to the Phoenix, so kind of picking those both up is like saying, hey, we're picking up one of our best counters as well, so how are you going to match this? But we have to talk about the fact that Garrosh is up. Likely Stukov going to be banned out in the second phase, probably, but you got the Malfurion Garrosh combination. That is a huge pick-based rotation. If LFM decide to go with something like that, they don't really have to lock into a range right now either. There's so many picks available for LFM. It just depends on what style of draft they want to run here.
Yeah, this will kind of give us an idea of how they want to approach this game if they do go for that Garrosh. Obviously, just the control and the threat they provide on the Shrine is there, but alternatively, Diablo can do a very similar thing. Shadow Charge, so scary, especially in the late game. with that pick, and Genji there as well.
Yep. So the bans here for XD, what's it going to be? You see that Diablo, you've got Genji, you want to remove some sort of combination with the APOC. You know, Jaina could very well be a hero that LFM decide to run. You've got that Genji though, like what is the combo here? XD, they're taking their time with their ban for sure.
I do like the Genji just for pressuring those two ranged assassins, keeping the pressure on, having the deflect, the snap escape, and also just the stall on the coffers. Brings a lot to the table in that regard. But yeah, the ban here is tricky. When you consider what they already have,
it could just be something like a Blaze.
Yeah,
you know, they could target the off lane for sure. And there is the Jaina, so it makes a lot of sense, right? You need something to combine with the APOC, and that's really what spoke to me there. You need a mage there, you need the burst damage, and this is the Stukov, as we were discussing, likely going to be the ban. And that puts XD in a situation where they have to take a support that, you know, we always talk about the Malfurion and the Stukov, right? Those are the power support picks, so it'll put XD on something a little bit not as powerful.
There's still the possibility of like running a Tassadar plus another support when you have the Hanzo, which does give them, you know, a little bit of clear, gives them a little bit of contention when it comes to the point. They were actually considering Garrosh there, probably going through the same motion, right? Like maybe if we get rid of Stukov, they still have Tass plus whoever they want.
Yeah, I think Stukov is probably the better bet, because if you ban off the Garrosh, then they'll just elect to choose the Johanna. And then your Johanna with a Hanzo and Phoenix, I think you're feeling okay, but LFM are considering the Garrosh a little bit more heavily here, and that is the ban. Okay, so just taking away the Garrosh.
Interesting. So the Johanna, as you mentioned, seems incredibly likely. A good, strong, safe front line. And then Stukov with it. But that's, admittedly, I mean, Stukov's fantastic, or the silence, but it's not as scary as the pick potential. And Diablo versus Garrosh can struggle. He really can.
Yep. Yeah, he can. Diablo is also one of those warriors that can match up into the Garrosh during the later stages of the game because of that percent damage. Exactly, just doing a lot of chunk damage onto him. But yeah, they want to get rid of that hero. I think Johanna is the likely choice here for XD. What are the other options? They could run a Muradin, they could run an ETC, but I think the highest likelihood would be our Crusader in Johanna.
I would agree. But yeah, think it over. 10 seconds left on the clock. They may opt to leave their tank for last. The Stukov seems like a guaranteed, but no, they go Tass and ETC.
Okay, I see you. I see you, XD. So ETC, you know, usually has a little bit more difficulty in this meta right now. I would say, you know, some people say he's made of paper. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think he's an actual cow. But he doesn't die, or he does die quite easily. But having that Tassadar, you were talking about that earlier, you know, alongside another support, he's gonna be okay, I think.
Yeah, Tass Hanzo, Tass Phoenix, both amazing targets for that shield. Just to put that pressure on. All right, so last two picks here for LFM. They do need the off lane still. Blaze seems like a fantastic option.
Yes. No, I'm with you on that one. And then something to close out these kills, because you can't just be the Diablo and Genji show. You need something more. And Blaze isn't really a hero that closes out kills either. So we need some more burst damage from LFM. Yeah, what's it going to be?
It's interesting because like this is not like the best Li Ming map, but draft-wise, Li Ming, oh yeah, Tracer too.
But
you got Li Ming, Tracer, Gul'dan could be played here.
Gul'dan's not a bad one. Tychus? Okay. Not really one that I would have expected to come out here, but still, damage, as we were discussing. You know, Odin is always so powerful no matter the situation. And then, of course, late game, that big red button, you know, able to do so much. And the sieging potential, too. You know, because you've got Genji and Tychus, not that much siege. So if you get the Web Weaver turn in, then you can maybe pop your Odin and try to take out some forts.
The final pick of game number 1 here in Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's got to be a support. Lone Tassadar is awkward. Yeah. And Stukov, he just seems like an amazing option. Setting up that silence through the power slide, possible mosh pits coming in. It's definitely a good option here.
To me, it's 95% chance Stukov, but what are the other options? You know, you see that Diablo and the Malfurion. Do you want the cleanse in Rehgar? Because that's certainly something that you could run. But you've got Warp on Phoenix, Hanzo, also an elusive backline assassin, so they're not very difficult to kill. Tassadar with the dimensional shifts, ETC able to get, and it's the boy. Okay, they wanted the cleanse.
The Rhaegar play. Should be the standard Rhaegar, Ancestral Heal, you know, what you expect to see, but he has really fallen off as a hero. We don't see him that often anymore. He's picked in these situations where you need cleanse. The burst heal with Ancestral obviously is great, but maybe the Garrosh ban was the right call, obviously, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right, because if they planned on going Rhaegar, I wouldn't say they needed the wave clear. Absolutely not, actually. They got Tassadar, they've got Hanzo and Phoenix, so it's not like he was just chosen for wave clear, which sometimes can happen, but they just chose him. I'm assuming because of the cleanse and the control that his totem is going to provide against the likes of Diablo. You know, he looks for that engage, maybe you totem and then re-engage with all that backline damage coming through. So
Kala, looking at these drafts below us here, who do you give it to?
I like LFM's draft a little bit more here. I think that XD's draft is easier to. I think the burden of execution here is on LFM, which is huge, right? But I like LFM's draft better. But the ease of use of XD is like we have to discuss that. You know, Tassadar is a fairly simple hero and all that jazz. So I think XD. It's going to be easier for them to win the game if you just weigh them raw. But I do think LFM's is the stronger draft.
I would have to agree. I mean, I like the potential that exists, especially with the double-ranged assassin opening the draft. Obviously, they're confident in doing that, but let's get going here. Going into game number 1 of our best-of-7 series on Tomb of the Spider Queen, LFM versus XD. On the blue-hand side, we have LFM Esports with the Aware. Coming on out on that Malfurion, Swabs is going to be here. Playing Blaze, Draded, rockin' Genji. We've got Figgy on the Diablo, and T running at the team on that Tychus.
And on the right, in red, it's XD. We've got Nintori playing the Rhaegar. We got Talking Trees. He's on that Hanzo. It's Hami, and you know what he's on. He's on Tassadar. Tiger JK playing the ETC. It's that role swap we were talking about. And cover, finishing off the draft as Phoenix.
So that's the big thing we gotta watch here is how this role swap on XD affects them. Again, to reiterate, they were the #1 team throughout the season, winning the majority of the cups, but losing Jhin, going into the playoffs, and then making further adjustments after making it through in the second place spot here of Open Division. We don't exactly know how Tiger's gonna fit in that tank spot. He obviously is experienced, the veteran of the team, and big power onto Figgy, who goes down.
I mean, that's Tiger just looking for a quick engagement, but there is the follow-up jet propulsion onto Tiger JK, and he's so low, but he's gonna walk away, okay. Already out of the gates, ladies and gentlemen. This is an exciting game. And I want to talk about the arsenal, the talent picked up for Phoenix. So we're gonna see him hitting those repeater cannons and then getting that chunk damage with his phase bomb. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a lot of pressure applied from the Phoenix in a lane like this, being able to just kind of dish out that damage consistently. Swabs, of course, has the self-sustain on the Blaze, and that jet propulsion almost picked up that kill. So in the rotations, that Blaze has a ton of value, but the snap teleport from the Phoenix, you know, finding some of those ambushes is going to be fun to watch these in those rotations.
So when you and I were talking before the show, I was explaining that sometimes we might see this Phoenix as an offlane, and here we see it. Phoenix able to trade up on any of his offlane opponents so very well with those shields, just stepping onto the enemy hero, onto the wave, of focusing his damage onto the enemy hero and winning almost every single trade. And that's why we're seeing Phoenix show up in this solo lane. And it's interesting to see it come out already in game #1, cover on that solo lane, and it works well.
Yeah, he's a talented player as well. And, you know, just looking out throughout the entire season, this is, you know, I just want to say, if you guys haven't been watching Open Division, make sure to check it out next season, because by far the most competitive it's ever been in the history of the Open Division, a year and a half in the running. And just looking at like individual players as to who's the best with which hero in that scene, Talking Trees obviously has been in the pro scene for a long time, but his Hanzo is bar none. I think he is the best Hanzo coming from the open side by a long shot.
And I like the Hanzo build, you know, saying that I'm going to step up into you, Diablo, get those auto attacks in. And right now, we're just seeing both these teams looking in these rotations. Figgy finding the engagement onto Talking Trees, but going to be able to walk away. As we said, these backline assassins are quite slippery.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it just comes down to the Tassadar as well, right? You have the snap sustain with that shield, keeps him alive, gets the chain heal out, and that's enough for him to be able to tap the well. But we mentioned this earlier, Diablo he's so-so in the early game. He doesn't have his soul, so he's not that tanky, which is why he died earlier. And additionally, he doesn't have that devastating charge % damage, which makes him a lot scarier in the late game.
Yep. We got Tassadar's level 1 talent getting to like the 400-ish mark right now, but the wave clear from XD is proving to be pretty difficult for LFM. We see them with his Diablo comp just roaming around trying to catch these waves. XD already pushing out top wave. Bottom also an advantage for XD right now, but Figgy looking to get his 12 turned in, and he does find it. Homie just a little bit too late there.
Yep, I mean, every little lapse in vision that they can get for LFM is actually a big deal, considering that you have Oracle from Tassadar, you've got the arrows to scout from Hanzo. There's just so many tools to get information as to when someone's turning in. Getting that 12 is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. 38 gems already turned in for LFM. Likely both of these teams are going to look at trying to pick up a camp of some sort to generate some mid-wave pressure. Tiger with his gems turned in as well, because getting that mid-wave pressure means that you force your opponents to go into that mid-wave so that you at least know that their numbers are there. You know, maybe even it's just 2 from XD, because then you can say, let's overload bottom. There are 2 showing mid. So we'll see if either of these teams decide to choose that decision, go for their bruiser camp, look for their first turn in. But it's going to be difficult, though. You're against this Oracle. You're against this Hanzo, the Sonic Arrow. So much vision control for XD.
Okay, there we go. Redemption is complete here at the 4-minute marker. About 54 souls for Diablo right now as well. So he's half power for the health. For the sustain, Tiger has the power slide to retreat away from that damage from T.
And he's going to have to be cautious of this Tychus, but a kill bottom side. Looks like Swabs probably found that jet propulsion. Warp not able to get Phoenix to safety, and that's bad.
That's about 20 gems. Yeah, like that's a big loss for them. He was, you know, banking an entire lane, and they get the turnaround, though, onto that Tychus.
They did, but turn in for the side of LFM against a vision control composition. This is actually huge for LFM, because if you were to look at these drafts objectively, I would say that XD have the easier time securing that first turn-in with their style. So going over to LFM instead, we'll see if LFM, because they are lacking in Siege, are able to get a lot of value out of this first turn-in.
I might be assuming things, but in a way, obviously it's never good to turn in, but if you're confident in your defense that you can like make those 50 gems mean very little, maybe that's what they're thinking. They have a lot of clear, they have the tools. That was a moment where they did get a kill on Tychus, and these Web Weavers shouldn't do too much damage, so not saying they gave it up for free, but it wasn't their priority, I don't think.
And this is what we were discussing, you know, very little siege from LFM, only a single tower down in the mid lane, single tower down bottom. Phoenix having a very easy time with that Figgy pushing top. So getting the full wall on the top side of the map, but the experience gap isn't substantial enough for me to justify saying this was a huge turn-in for LFM.
It wasn't bad, though, by any means. I mean, decent value here. The last one will fall, but the wall is down here. Diablo was able to guarantee that. And about 60% of a level lead going towards 10. Obviously, that is significant. But there is enough in the bank here for a turn-in on the side of our boys here in XD. And they'll be looking for that as soon as they can, especially approaching that level 10 marker.
Yeah, XD, the faster team to get onto their bruiser camps, because no turn-in for LFM at this point. They have to get this camp rolling out mid before LFM hits level 10, because if LFM hits level 10, very difficult to get the turn-in for XD, because then you're playing against heroic tier talents, obviously. You don't want to do that, especially against this combination of Diablo. Is scary stuff.
Yep, now they're marching in that bruiser camp, trying to utilize it, where we'll be able to look to get those 8 dropped off. Nice shadow charge from Figgy, just keeping Tiger JK away and honest and guaranteeing that turn-in. Hami just D-shifted already. Should have the shield in a moment. Not going to die, but big pressure forcing the D-shift and the well tap.
And I like how much pressure that Draded is putting on this bottom lane, because it is a winning matchup for XD. So we're seeing this float down bottom, pressuring out cover. He's feeling less safe at this point, and turn-ins available now for LFM. Is this the back-to-back?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had it, but one more needed. This would be tough, and obviously there's not a lot that LFM can do without level 10, or excuse me, XD can do without level 10, because they are playing on the defensive right now. Shadow Charge, again, used, but beautifully done there by Talking Trees.
Yeah, the Sonic Arrow to stall it out. Hami in a bit of trouble, not sure. There's the dimensional shift, but now he's caught out a little bit. No Archon to save him. Here comes the Dragon Blade. He's looking to pick up the kill, and that's one. Draded looking for another. There's the warp, but Cover's in a lot of trouble. He continues on with the damage. Is Nintori there for the save?
Oh, Draded is looking for it. Cover has a sliver of HP, and he manages to live. He's staying alive, but the Web Weavers are on their way. Level 10 just about locked in here on the side of XD. Respawn 5 seconds away for that Tassadar. This could be a lot of damage to these forts.
Yes, LFM has generated a lot of tempo off of that play. We see Tassadar and Phoenix now just getting back onto the map, so mid is very healthy. Top is healthy. We see Tychus represented up here. Blaze taking the entire bottom side of the map at this point. Nothing that XD can do. They're going to have to force a fight in the mid lane. They're falling very far behind here.
Yeah, this is tough. They do have their heroics now locked in. It's definitely something they're going to try to use to turn around. No heroics on cooldown at this point in time for their opponents.
Okay. So we have to talk about the elephant in the room, okay? We've got the Planet Cracker, we have Mosh Pit, and we have Dragon Arrow. I see that disgusting combination. Can XD find it?
It's the dream play, right? If they can land it, it can absolutely turn a game around at any point. And the boss is currently being awaited here. They have the 13 advantage, 2-level lead very early in the series. LFM looking dominant.
They're looking very good. And I liked their draft style. I like the way that they played the early game. Yes, they got caught a little bit early, but it didn't do a whole lot.
Okay,
you know?
Okay. They're looking for it. They're setting up. They're all coming as 5, even without 13. A lot of focus on the Tiger J. Cleanse has been used already, but they're abandoning the boss, knowing it's too much of a risk. That combo you were talking about with the Dragon Arrow could be used here. Ancestral will keep Tiger alive and healthy. T throws out the Q, trying to keep the boss engaged. He doesn't want the health bar to replenish too much, but it already has. The damage is done. The boss has to be evaded, so it is a win here for XD. They did spend the Ancestral.
Yeah, really nice stall there, but it was traded out for the Odin, so XD are totally comfortable with that trade. And they need to find something on the map so that they can get this turn in. Like, if they can get a turn in, they can start getting that XP, because there's so many forts still up for LFM, and you pick those up, they're immediately back in the game in terms of experience if they're able to get this turn in. But right now, LFM are just playing perfectly, stepping up onto the map, pushing out the minion waves past the 50% mark. They're commanding.
Okay, 2 members working on that night camp to try to get the pressure in the mid and open the opportunity to drop off more gems. If they get a triple turn in a row here for LFM, I mean, that just bodes very poorly for XD. And XD has not been able to get near the point. They are afraid of this Diablo pickup.
There goes Swabs. He's trying to find an engagement. 13 talents advantage for LFM, so if they get a fight, it is a huge advantage for them.
All right, we do have a pause here in this game, but just kind of looking at the current stance of things, I mean, we saw the nice opening here for the side of XD where they got the first kill onto Diablo. Obviously, Diablo's not very strong in the early game, and since then, it's just been smooth sailing.
Yeah. Like I was saying, XD need to find a way to put pressure on the map somewhere. You know, they have a long-range engage tool. They've got the Dragon Arrow, APOC right underneath it if they're able to time that one properly. But they just have to find it. Because if they don't find a kill or some sort of map pressure, maybe where they like steal a boss or they get their bruiser camp out, they're just not reasonably going to be able to step up and get their turn in, which is what they desperately need at this point.
And it's weird because even with 2 members back getting the night camp, just the pressure of the Diablo and the Blaze alone has been enough to thwart anyone from even feeling safe to stepping into the arena where the coffer is, because that's just the playground for those heroes, right? You've got tools like Bunker and Shadow Charge that are just so oppressive if you're a squishier hero. Rhaegar being one of them, he can't turn in safely, right? No. He'll just die. He has to play in the backline. He has to play safe. Even ETC, you were mentioning, a lot of people say he's made of paper. And, you know, when he's put in that situation, he's often just kind of waiting with his W, trying to create the space for his team, but unable to do so.
And I want to see XD pull the trigger, because we haven't seen it yet. And I haven't even discussed the fact that Planet Cracker, you know, I mentioned it in passing, but I haven't even brought that into the equation. I'm mainly just talking about the fact that they've got the big, you know, the Mosh Pit and Dragon Arrow. They need to find this combo, and if they do, I seriously think they can easily one-shot anyone on the side of LFM.
The whole team could just melt, yeah.
Exactly.
The Planet Cracker. It's the dream, right? Yeah. And that's the thing, though. That's the beautiful part about their late game, is at any moment, they could just win the entire game, or at least get a huge swing back in their favor from that Mosh Pit setup if Planet Cracker and Dragon Arrow and all the tools are available. But we've seen Trees land some of the most incredible Dragon Arrows throughout this season for similar plays, so we know they can do it.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite Hanzo players, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all they have to do. That's seriously it. They're getting kind of backed into a corner at this point. And unless they find this sort of team fight, then they're going to have difficulties. You know, continually just getting stuff taken on the map. They had an excellent defense at boss, actually. So fantastic defense by them, but not able to pick up anything aside from just trading heroics, which technically is an advantage for them.
It's nice to see, though, right? They have the shot calling to acknowledge that, yes, they're at boss. We need to defend this. Everyone goes in unison. they're 2 levels down. It's 13 to 11 in that situation. But at the same time, LFM didn't get cocky. They acknowledged that this could be the point where they throw. You never want to throw at the boss. They backed up. They tried to keep going with it, and both teams played that perfectly, I think, in that setup, right? So we're seeing these teams start to feel each other out, figure each other out as well. This is the evolution of best of 7. We're only like 5 minutes in to this game or so. But man, I like I said, I want to see them get a little bit more aggressive. It seems like they're afraid to fight. They're just terrified.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I want to talk about that feeling of knowing that you have to fight, but waiting for the perfect opportunity. Sometimes that can be a curse. You know, recognizing the fact that you have this fairly linear win condition where you have to find an engagement with your tools, but sometimes shot callers will just sit back and they'll be like, no, that's not the right time, or that's not the perfect time. But at this point, you're not too far behind.
Right.
Send it in.
Go.
Let's go. Yeah. Rip the Dragon Arrow. Get in there. Let's get the pit going. Like, let's force a fight. Even if you get 1 kill off of that, you will put LFM in a position where, like, okay, you can get your first turn, and we're comfortable using Odin to try to defend it. And then that's when you get back into the game.
So when you pull a bow, you call that ripping? Rip the Dragon Arrow?
Rip the old Dragon Arrow.
Yeah, rip the Dragon Arrow. Just like a lawnmower, just rip the Dragon Arrow.
Or a Beyblade,
Yeah, let it rip. So guys, this is, of course, just the very first game of the best of 7 here for the North American Crucible between XD and LFM. But there is so much happening in the Heroes of the Storm world, namely Heroes of the Dorm, happening at the Blizzard Arena next weekend. And there's the entire Predict the Champion going on right now, where you can pick them to win some sweet swag.
Who doesn't want to win free stuff? There you go. I'm going to be at Dorm. I cannot wait for the event. It's one of my favorite events all year, honestly. It's just so cool seeing the, I guess you would say, amateur level teams be able to compete for basically probably the first time in their lives. Sometimes you see recurring players, but it's really exciting for these teams. It's super fun to watch.
My boys, UConn, they didn't make it this year. I'm sad. But it's okay.
Sorry, man.
Because Canada made it to the top 4 for the first time.
It's exciting, The Great White North represent. It's my home country. Makes me proud.
Yeah.
There you go.
5 loot boxes up for grabs. heroesofthedorm.com. Check it out. And, of course, the broadcast will be live May 12th next week from the Blizzard Arena. Tickets are sold out, mind you, but you can watch online right here on twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes. Good stuff, but we are almost ready to go back into the game, I feel here. All the players are playing from home, and sometimes dogs chew through Ethernet cables. We had that happen in Open Division. Literally, dog ate my homework was the excuse that we got for the extended disconnect in the game. That was impressive. I've never in my life been like, my dog chewed through my Ethernet cable. Like,
I didn't believe it.
Right now? Are you real right now? Like, I still don't know if it's true. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't believe it at first, but then as the time progressed, I was like, okay, maybe that actually did happen. And then he was very confident in it, so I'm like, okay, yeah, that definitely did happen. But yeah, it's super funny. Okay, so this game, LFM, they're so far, or I wouldn't say so far ahead. They're quite far ahead. How do they stay in this lead? Not enough gems to turn in at this point.
Not yet.
Their opponents
it's close, though. Like, they're honestly, like, their gem advantage through kills is pretty substantial, I feel. Oh, well, let's get back to it.
There we go. XD just looking to clear out this mid lane. They're the ones with turn-in, so LFM just want to continue to try to control this map, but they are losing time because 13s will be here for XD in mere moments.
Yeah, I mean, 13 will definitely help. It'll allow them to feel a little bit more confident when pushing out towards those coffers to try to get the turn-in. You constantly have one of these guardians of the coffers. Figgy on the Diablo, and we have Blaze, I think, played by T on the other side, just kind of controlling this space. But Talking Trees has 32 Apocalypse drop for the combo. Cleanses there from Nintori to get him out. But Genji dives deep, looking for the kill. We see the shield coming from Hami, trying to keep Talking Trees alive, but the full disengage is successful. A lot of tools spent in that engage.
A lot of tools indeed, but in LFM, they don't have their turn-in yet. So at this point, I would like to see XD just back up, see if they can take their bruiser camp, clear out bottom, try to at least control the waves a little bit. But here comes Tiger JK. He finds the slide onto Swabs. There goes the bunker. Now he gets combined by Figgy, and he's in a lot of trouble. Tiger JK, here's the mosh pit.
The mosh goes out, buying time for the Ancestral Heal to connect. Nintori in a tough spot here. Shadow Charge secluding Tiger, as Swabs is also quite low. Tranquility getting good value with the Dragon Blade, doing its best. Rated looking for those kills. Tiger and Nintori both so low, but living close calls across the board.
Flexing on each other there. XD not even at that 13 talent tier. And now LFM, they have a turn in. So that was the point. Jake, that was it. XD had an opportunity to fight there. The mosh pit was decent. No Planet Cracker to follow up. XD, they're not on the same page.
They're being invaded on this night camp here as they're diving forward. They will be able to seal this at this rate. The cleanse goes out as a power slide is good to buy time, but they've given it up. The Web Weavers are summoning. They steal the night camp, and they still have that huge level lead. This is really rough for XD.
No Odin at this point, so LFM siege potential a little bit lower, but they have this bruiser camp. Web Weavers are on their way. LFM closing in on that 16 talent here. XD need to make a move. They just hit level 13. Yes, they do not have mosh pit. They need to do something here.
Pushed against the ropes here are the boys in XD. And they finally got 13, but guess what? 16 is just about here for LFM. Odin has been summoned as soon as it comes off cooldown, and there's a raw Planet Cracker just trying to give them some space. They could be kicking themselves in the foot if they find an opportunity to use that later.
It really did not buy enough space considering the cooldown. Draded pressuring out Talking Trees, so he's not able to step up and get those explosive arrows onto the wave. There it is there, but still LFM doing an excellent job, and the keep picked up. Now LFM looking to rotate down bottom. They're doing it aggressively too, cutting off the members of XD. They want more.
I mean, this is a team that doesn't necessarily have the strongest siege without the Odin, but they're able to put so much pressure with the tanks in the front line to deny the actual clear to be quick enough. Tassadar is here to help with those shields. They will hold on to their other keeps for the time being, but the experience deficit is 3 full levels because it's 3 turn-ins to 0.
Now LFM, they've got everything. You know, they have the win condition opened up mid. They can basically just sit, wait for level 20, see if they can find something. Figgy looking at cover, but he's going to be able to walk away from this one easy. Now is Figgy a little bit too far caught out?
Yeah, they get the keep though. That's all they really wanted. Figgy's taking a lot of damage, power slide, and heals coming through. Talking Trees will receive an ancestral heal, but that's a Hanzo. You never want to have to use that here. Bunker has been dropped for the retreat here, sticking around with that tranquility to heal everyone up. Tiger, now the target, has the knockback with the W. Power sliding back in onto Figgy, trying to find that kill. Desperate for blood. Finally, Diablo has lost his souls.
There we go. XD finding a little bit of momentum here, but as you said, the souls are spent, so Diablo is already back on the map. So XD, they wanted to find a kill, but not on a target that can just respawn like that.
It's bittersweet, I feel, because this is a moment where that Diablo cannot be as bold with his posturing since his HP is a lot lower. He will be a little bit more killable, but you know, they're so far behind in the experience, and 2 keeps did go down.
Yeah, that's huge for LFM. XD, they're still at this point, and I feel like they've been here all game. They just need to get those gems turned in. 16s are pretty soon here for XD. They can just sit, clear, look for 16, and then try to find that team fight that we've been talking about this whole game. That's definitely a way that XD can try to navigate the rest of the game.
That's the thing, right? Again, we have to keep saying that. The game isn't over till it's over because XD could land that wombo, get a 5-man wipe, a 4-man wipe, whatever it is, and find those turn-ins. They have 104 gems backed up. That's 2 turn-ins available in their pockets, assuming they don't lose anyone, and that indeed could give them the momentum they need to push forward, find a boss, end the game.
And this is it. This is really the moment where XD can, you know, we were talking about you get to this point where have you stalled too long looking for the perfect engage? And I feel like this is the threshold. XD have to find a fight at this point. Bruiser's not up yet. They're going to be clearing theirs, but they have 16. This is it. They have so many gems. So much tempo could be generated if they just get the 1 turn in. And LFM starting boss, that is so ambitious.
Okay, looks like we do have a Genji bot here, so we do have a quick pause coming through. Boss posture, obviously, the moment that they saw the disconnect, they probably said, leave the boss right now. And Tassadar has spotted us. We need to back up. But still, you know, really, LFM, they're just trying to force a fight, right?
Yep, basically. Well, LFM, actually, they have mid keep down. They have bot keep down. I'm not sure the state of the minion waves right now. So if bottom is actually pressuring quite well, LFM can just like flirt with the idea of boss, not actually commit to it, and then wait for resources of XD to show up and then be like, well, you're going to lose core damage now, and then sort of just back off and play that game. But I don't see that being the smart strategy. I think LFM should just get off boss and fight 2 talents up.
The state of the minion wave, you nailed it. They have catapults and merc camps in mid and bottom right now.
Oh, okay. So then,
they're forcing everyone in the top lane to just say you're gonna lose. You know, if this is drawn out, you will slowly lose. So it's a really smart play from LFM. They're really just trying to draw resources based on the story we're seeing on the mini map right now. But it's a tough spot for XD, and I feel like winning in the throw pin is their only way to come back here.
that's the place to do it, though. But you did mention, you're against something like a Diablo, so it can be quite difficult. But he doesn't have all the souls right now, so he's a little bit squishier. What is he at? 10.
10. That's nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a squishy Lord of Sin. Lord of Sin?
Lord of Sin.
Okay, let's go with that. Nice.
I hope it's right. Lord of
Primeval.
Lord of Terror?
Lord of Terror.
Lord of Terror.
Lord of Sin
Diablo.
is Asmodan.
Yeah, oh yeah, Asmodan.
Of course.
We're good at Diablo. I'm like the best Diablo player in the world. My MMR is like 9,000.
Over?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, over.
Well memed, my dude.
Got him.
Okay, but that's a good space for XD to fight. As long as Diablo doesn't one-shot somebody, that is the place where everybody is in the same area. You can get the Dragon Arrow, you can get the Mosh Pit, you can find the Planet Cracker that isn't on a minion wave this time. I want to see XD just send all of their heroics in one space and get a kill. They got to do it.
Well, looks like Dog ate the Ethernet cable, folks. So we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll have the conclusion of game number 1.
And teams on the official HGC website for desktop and mobile. Stats, archived matches, and everything you need to stay up to date with the global Heroes of the Storm Esports League. Watch live on game days and upgrade your Heroes of the Storm knowledge. 2018 promises to be the best year yet. Look for expanded statistics, enhanced viewing experiences, and more on your home for the HGC.
We'll make our stand right here. Our choice is crystal clear. We are the beasts, the monsters fear.
Hello, folks, and welcome back here to the HGC Open Division. We are in the middle of game number 1 between LFM and XD as the Dog ate the Ethernet cable.
Yep, he's one bad boy. Speaking of dogs, we got Rehgar, so it's a little bit of a different environment we're used to seeing as far as supports in NA, but it's a good one.
Great. I mean, I like the Rehgar. I like the Greymane. I like that mustache and the skin we just saw.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good skin.
What makes a Greymane better? Give him a really cool mustache.
Yeah, and a big fluffy tail.
Yeah, but yeah, state of the game right now. XD kind of backs against the wall. Mid lane pushing in, bot lane pushing in, down to keeps. But they finally have the resources to turn it. Sorry, they've had the resources to turn in forever, but
a long time.
Exactly. But now their opponents aren't at that 20 point. So can they find a fight to get back into the game? That's the big question.
Is it their draft that's flawed, or is it the way they're playing the game? Because, like we mentioned, they're the team that has the vision control. They have tons of poke, but yet they've failed to deny the turn-ins in the early game.
Yep.
Is that just a failure in execution, or is their draft flawed?
No, I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Like, I don't get the Rehgar. I get it because of the cleanse, and we saw actually a beautiful cleanse.
There's been a few, honestly.
Yeah, so we do see that value, but and I'm not going to blame the draft whatsoever, but I just feel like it's the way that XD have played it so far. You're saying it yourself. So much vision control. You know, Oracle, Sonic Arrow, so much to control vision, but they just haven't been able to step up, clear the waves, and then try to get their turn-ins. Like, they just haven't been able to execute it properly.
Let's relive the last minute of the game here, just kind of to bring everyone back up to speed with what we've had. So this is a replay. This is not live. And this is kind of that initial posturing where we saw the mid keep go down. We saw some kind of ineffective defensive heroics, but the experience deficit speaks for itself, which is why you see Figgy so forward, getting them this key.
And I don't know if this was too ambitious, because as we see, yeah, it's Figgy, he steps up really far. Lots of heroics spent from LFM, but he ends up going down in the long term here. Bunker used as well. But yeah, he tries to find the APOC combo on a Tiger JK, but it was a little ambitious. You know, the angle just wasn't there. The re-engage comes through from XD. They pick up this kill on Figgy, and while he does come back, the big point is the fact that now Diablo is super squishy. So it gives XD that bigger opportunity to find a way back into the game if they're able to find this team fight. Currently, right now, the game, XD is level 16 against 18. There's a skirmish around the boss area, so they have all of the resources right now, I think, to be able to satisfy that win condition, as long as they can find an opening, as long as they can find a team fight.
Naturally, we can see the gem count has been depleted for LFM, but I think this next moment is when they really just kind of spread out and go for the Merc camps. Yeah, you can see them posturing around, and this is them just owning the map, right? They've already got catapults in mid and bottom. They're going to get the neutral camp in the bottom lane. They're going to get their night camp on the left-hand side, while everyone on the side of XD is worried about the boss. They're all posturing around here, waiting for 16, soaking what they can. But really, they're tunnel visioning on the team fight, right? They're tunnel visioning 16, we need to kill them. That's it. And conceding those camps, I mean, again, this is a replay. This could end up hurting them in the real time that we're going to get back to soon.
That's true. We're getting closer and closer to where the game was at. But yeah, the skirmish around boss was the big point. And as you mentioned, you know, mid is there, bottom is there for LFM. So they have so much pressure all throughout the map. They have everything going for them. The only thing that LFM need to do in this situation is not die at boss. Right. That's it.
And that's where our pause happened.
There we go.
And that's where we are. Boss being postured around, big pressure in the mid and bottom that will quickly push out the lanes, threaten the core, force a response. The tools that they have to respond with, obviously, Hanzo very quick at rotating around, being able to clear the lanes. They have Tassadar. They have a lot of different tools, but can they afford to abandon the boss, give that up, and then let the boss push a vulnerable keep that has the wall down already? Not really. So their hands are tied. They need a team fight. They need it to be quick. And it literally comes down to the God Arrow, the God Mosh, win the game. Right.
I believe in them too.
Yeah.
You know, I know that they can find this sort of engagement. They have all the tools, as we've said many times. It's just whether or not they rip it.
Rip it.
They get it. You know, that's it. That's it.
So if you could buy a Beyblade Hanzo Sin, where he goes, let it rip, instead of the, can you do the Ryu? I can't do it.
Original Kill.
Wow. Why are you so good at that? I think it was wrong,
Genji.
but it was so good.
That's Genji. That's the good one. I wanted to follow with you. No, I can't do Hanzo.
Ryuga Wateki wo Kurao?
Ryuga Wagateki wo Kurao.
Yeah, but you got this. No pressure.
Ryuga Wagateki wo Kurao. There you go.
Look directly into the
I
camera.
can't. Oh my gosh.
Intimate contact.
I'm dying.
One more time.
No,
one more. The stream needs it.
Okay.
Intimate contact.
Ryuga Wagateki wo Kurao. There you go.
And now you're hired. Welcome.
You're awful. I love it, though. You know, this is the sort of situation you should put me in my first time on the desk, okay? So thank you. I applaud you.
So there are rules in place for how long you can stall at a match in the event of a disconnect. And they have 1 minute left on the timer here before they have to play with a bot. LFM is in a dominant position, but currently our Genji player is missing in action. And if he does not return in time, the game resumes with a bot in play. This is a critical moment. We already talked about how the mid and bottom lane are in their favor. The map is totally in their favor, but when people start dying, who knows? I mean, Genji bot with Dragon Blade, he can push buttons.
He can, but it's terrifying. You know, the circumstances of this series are so paramount. Like,
True.
Yeah, man, that would be devastating.
I mean, if you guys don't know what the Crucible is all about, LFM, they're defending their pro spot. And the other side here, this is XD trying to climb in. We're down to about 5 seconds left before the bot is coming into play, and I think we're resuming with a bot right now. So, unfortunate circumstances, but here we go.
Get your Dragon Blades ready. LFM with the Genji bot. They're so far ahead in this game. XD, they have the tools. They have the ability to find a team fight. It's just whether or not they can at this point. So many gems on the side of XD here. Let's see if they can force this team fight somewhere.
Now, during the pause, it gives both teams a moment to sit back and talk about the state of the game. They're looking at the mini-map. They quickly decided here on the side of XD to just rotate, push out the Merc camps, clean up the lanes. The chance of a boss being started with a bot goes way down, so they felt a little bit safer in this opportunity. Long ways away are LFM from having a turn-in, but XD finally get their first turn-in of the game, and now is their time to try to get some control.
You said it yourself, you know, the game's not over till it's over, and this is huge for XD. They get their turn in, they have another one waiting in the bank. If they can push up and find a team fight, like Genjibot is walking in, picking up the gems at this point, they need to ping him for sure. The stun goes out onto him. He's in a lot of trouble at this point, but there's the Swift Strike to safety. XD, this is looking like it's going to result in a pretty good push for themselves. Odin is popped for LFM to try to stop the push in mid lane.
And it's working out fairly well, but there's two other very healthy web weavers. Obviously, bottom is running into catapult, so that will slow it down a fair bit. If the catapults are connecting on the web weaver, the queen itself does a ton of damage and helps them out. This could be the first fort going down, but still a large structural advantage. But I love the fact that we're seeing XD put their emphasis on the top lane where the boss exists, because that's their ticket to win. Yeah,
they want to close this game out as soon as possible. And XD, contrary to their opponent's draft, have an immense amount of siege. We see those storms from Tacit are out. We got cover here on the Phoenix. So much ranged damage. Talking Trees, of course, on the Hanzo. Lots of range damage there. Genji stepping out. And Tiger JK respecting him, you know. He didn't slide, and he very well could have. Just kind of probably feeling a little bit bad for his opponent.
Possibly, possibly. Genji has not fed yet. Bottom lane is pushed to an even marker, but mid is actually, you know, still the catapults are just doing work, pushing that mid lane out nicely. Here for the side of LFM, still maintaining some good control of this game. Problem is there's basically another 2 turn-ins available. They're looking for the fight. Figgy drops the Apocalypse, but gets no value. Great control from Tiger JK. The arrow follow-up, just slowing things down, but forces out that bunker, which will go down.
Here goes the Dragon Blade. Genji looking for some damage, getting a bit on the front line, jumping away there, but just both these teams just kind of flexing at each other at this point. We have to consider the fact that Mosh Pit is up. Slide out on a Genji, but he's still alive.
Oh, the Feral Lunge actually got Nintori too deep, though. He got caught with the Genji jumping away. Nintori getting the shield, dropping the heals that he can, but will be focused on by Figgy with that Shadow Charge. That's a 1-for-1 with the bot going down, so a bit of a good situation here for LFM. The best they're going to get in this late game, but there's the interrupt coming for the Mosh Pit. We saw the attempt there with the Planet Cracker. Not enough for the kill. Cover's doing some good damage, but Tiger is so very low, a grenade would end his life.
And that's it. Genjibot baited the lunge, and then XG put themselves in an awkward situation. Now, LFM, they can push up. They have so much pressure mid and bottom. Are they going to look to try to take? No, they're not. Okay. But they're taking the Bruiser.
That's a lot of catapults. Yes. They can just constrict and just play like a python and push this team forward, controlling the map as they are. No level 20 here for XD. Yes, it's a Genjibot. He's the only one that died. And again, he traded the Rhaegar by pulling that Feral Lunge in.
That was actually insane. Yeah, this is the Odin. The big red button is here. Ladies and gentlemen, so much pressure mid and bottom. Figgy looking at cover.
Oh, cover. He's so low, he finds the teleport away back to safety. They have a lot of damage, but is it enough? The Odin, the minions, the catapults, they are lining up. And LFM, with this Genji in the late game, finds a kill on the Phoenix, and they're gonna look to take game number 1.
LFM, ladies and gentlemen, they stick through the Odin there, doing so much damage to the core at this point. Aware with the Tranquility, just kind of seal the deal. Talking Tree is not able to do anything. LFM, game number 1, finishing it out with a disconnect. Fantastic job by them.
And, you know, obviously they deserve that win, and I'm actually like so happy they got it. Because in the event that they lose that Genji player, the mental state that you're in after the disconnect could have been traumatic, but now they're like, oh, we dodged a bullet, guys. Genjibot's actually OP. He had that beautiful bait pulling in the Rhaegar. Obviously, you know, just it's a random situation where it happened to pull that Feral Lunge forward, but worked out.
It is random. If that Genji were a player, that's something you can actually very well do, especially against a Rhaegar or a Diablo. You know, the Shadow Charge comes through, you can Swift Strike and put him in some pretty awkward situations. And the fact that the bot did it is, it's amazing. So nice job by LFM taking that game number 1. And they really did deserve it. You know, they commanded the game start to finish at that point. Minor hiccup, mind you, of course, but they had the perseverance to find the victory.
It was a very well played game by LFM, and you know, this is a team that has started to look better, right? They are coming in from the Open Division from last season, right? This is the only team that has been in every single Crucible. The first Crucible last year, just a year from today, they were defeated against Naventic. Going into the next Crucible, they faced Naventic again. Got defeated, but Naventic disbanded, so by default, they absorbed into their spot. So now they're here, playing in HGC for the first time, under the brand of LFM, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to have the results they want, but a good start here with a win in Game 1.
Yeah, and they said themselves that they're picking it up. So this is the perfect opportunity for them to really just show what they're made of here.
Right.
Fight for their spot, fight for their job. And so far, game number 1, both drafting and the way that they executed. I said in the beginning that I liked LFM's draft better. So drafting and their execution was pretty darn good. They're looking fire.
Moving forward, looking at XD, they opened the draft with double assassin. They went Hanzo, and they went for the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a bit ambitious considering the state of the game, or did it not really matter?
I think it would have worked well if they just were able to maneuver around those picks a little bit better. I really don't think that Phoenix dies to a Genji roam when you're laning against a Blaze, and we actually saw that condition happen in bottom lane cover. He ended up getting chunked out a little bit, and then Genji showed up, and then there was the kill bottom lane. So I don't think that should happen. So the execution of XD just not quite there. They've got to step it up moving forward. I do think that their draft was fine. I mentioned that their execution burden very low. They had all the tools to get that first turn in my opinion. Better wave clear. They had better vision control. It's just they weren't able to get it.
They weren't able to get it. It's a tough start here for XD, our Open Division team. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll have game number 2.
One of the most celebrated heroes in Protoss history, Phoenix made his last stand valiantly defending Ire as the Zerg invaded and overwhelmed him. His body was later recovered and implanted in the shell of a Dragoon so he could continue to fight and earn glory in battle. And now, with a new horizon, his pursuit for glory continues in the Nexus.
I have returned.
Phoenix is a ranged assassin who excels at bullying enemies with sustained damage. Phoenix's trait, Shield Capacitor, passively grants him permanent shields on top of his health. Damage taken by Phoenix